order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees. Everybody will stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before us we have the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by fellow board members or board department heads at this time? Seeing none, the agenda will stand as presented. First item, unfinished business. Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is just a resolution to continue the $25 fee for the yard waste site for Plain Township residents and to continue the $15 yard waste card replacement fee.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion.
I would just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can say from a discussion aspect, knowing that our carrying costs are still the same as last year. I mean, based upon where we come in last year, probably just a little bit to the good.
Well, it didn't cover the installation of the gates and the infrastructure. It covered the hauling away. And I think we're to the point where, at least for a while, we're going to be at $25. So we're going to redo the home rule resolution to reflect that, because when we talked about the $25 before, we didn't know where we'd be at this year. Would it need to be more? It doesn't need to be. So next meeting, we're going to redo the home rule, put that in there, and then that way we won't have to redo every year do resolutions.
That was all I was going to say.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the first part of another, a larger process that'll include the home rule resolution as well.
Okay.
So prepare yourselves for that one for next time.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. And item number 2 is a resolution to amend Resolution 21-058 to approve payment to Kit and Data Print for printing of the Plain Township Spring Newsletter in an amount not to exceed $6,657.89.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. And that's the end of unfinished business.
Okay, it takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a request for resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in an amount of $277,193.75.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo? Fiscal Officer number 2 is a request for resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a request for resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the bank reconciliation for January. Fiscal Officer number 5 is a request for resolution to authorize the additional benefits of longevity pay to members of the Utility Workers Union of America, AFL-CIO Local 561, who meet the requirements of the attached schedule effective April 1, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is the investment report.
Okay.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a request for resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 8 is a request for resolution to authorize the following transfers of expenses to the Coronavirus Relief Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 9 is a request for resolution to authorize the following transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 10 is a request for a liquor license from Everhard Chen LLC, doing business as Fuji Sushi, 3960 Everhard Road Northwest, Canton, Ohio 44709.
So moved.
We don't even have to move up this.
Yeah, we just,
As far as, that's the old Denny's location off of Everhard.
Mhm.
We really don't have a record to go off of prior to there, but anything else would cause concern.
No, it's not near a school, it's not, no, it'll be nice to see that business repurposed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Say let it move on.
Okay. That concludes the Fiscal Officer report.
Okay, it's going to take us to the administrator's report, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is to authorize payment to Tolan Design LLC for the restoration of the fiscal office kitchenette for attached quote.
So moved.
second,
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
yes,
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize the request for a time change for the Dora 720 market to begin at 10 a.m. on the dates below, which are the dates of the 720 market.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
Yeah, I received a request from Great Gilts if we could begin the Dora at 10 o'clock on those days instead of, I think it's noon? It's a Saturday, could be 11. Yes, because it's an hour early. Since the market will be starting then, I can't say that any of our businesses will open early for that, but that will give them the opportunity to do so if they so wish.
okay. Any further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes. Thank you, that's the end of the administrator report.
Okay, it's going to take us to fire department chief.
All right, thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment, installation of emergency lights and sirens, miscellaneous equipment to Hall Public Safety Outfitters for an amount not to exceed $14,000 from funds 2805 and 10A09I.
I'll move on FD number 1,
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
yes,
And that concludes fire department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. It's going to take us to road department, Mr. Iacino.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 1 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to direct the highway superintendent to place an advertisement for bids for road materials in a newspaper published in Stark County on the 25th of March and the 1st of April, to be received on the 15th and opened at 12:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
yes,
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Item number 2 is for discussion. We received a speed zone study if we wish to put one in with the county engineers. And, you know, we've done just about every road we could, but I did go up to Elmhurst today, and north of Ivy, we could throw that in and it meets the criteria to do it. So if you want me to put that one in, or if you come up with something else, just let me know.
what's that at right now, Joe?
That's at 40. The other half south of that's 35. So it's raised at.
We chatted earlier this morning, and I still haven't come up with anything else.
I mean, we did so many roads so many times that we keep no change, or a couple times they asked us to increase it.
You remember the history, why that changed like that?
On Elmhurst?
Yeah,
No, I think we got that first part changed one time, John, but it's been a long time, and why they didn't.
to a higher or slower?
Slower, because there's more homes there in intersections. That's got a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
But they've been building some homes north of there now, and hopefully we can get some.
I would say, you know, it's probably a good idea, it'd be kinda nice if the whole road was the
And
same
I'm sure
speed.
there's a bunch of speeding there
Just
too,
would
I'm
make-
sure of it.
It'd make it so much easier for everybody.
Yeah,
I told Joe I hate to, we want to find something, because you hate to give up a free speed zone
Yeah,
study.
right.
But
I mean, it'll be 2 years before we find out
have
about
this
it.
going back on anything else is like an exercise of futility.
Yeah, futility, I know, so we were struggling, I'm glad you
Yeah.
found something, Joe.
Yeah, I've been trying since I got this letter.
You know, maybe, I guess if if we do move forward with that, maybe somehow we could emphasize we would like to see it uniform the whole way.
Yeah, I'll talk to the county engineer about it, yeah.
I remember, isn't that a little hilly through there?
Yes.
Yeah, it does near the north, as far north, farther north you go, right.
So, you know,
It's kind of narrow too. It's
yeah,
not that-
it is.
Yeah, so,
There's
Okay,
a blind spot there and it's dangerous.
good choice probably.
okay. Item number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the purchase of a yearly user license fee for the Build-A-Form Engineer Report System from Morph Corporation, not to exceed $3,840.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
yes.
Thank you. That ends the road report.
Okay, nothing there on the zoning. It's gonna take us to parks, Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you. Item number 1 is just a simple update. I've been getting some emails, and we've got some inquiry through social media about the most recent improvements. So I just wanted to remind the public that the capital budget grant is allowing us to build the restroom structure at Diamond. B, a partnership with the Stark County Disc Golf Association is actually paying for the concreting of those tee boxes for the disc golf course at Veterans Park. We actually have gotten several inquiries on both ends, so we just wanted to make it clear that these are not park funds expenditures.
I think just as a whole with the levy questions that are out there, I'm gonna add comments to that, in that the parks levy request under no way, shape, or form or circumstance is got small language indicating that we can annex anything we want. I think it's important to be on the record for that, because you get one or two crazies that put preposterous information out there. We've got a responsibility to correct it. I know we're all sensitive to the fact that, hey, everybody's got to deal with fixed income and manage to it. Whether you're working or whether you're retired, there's still a fixed income that you're managing. Two, the reality is these are not Stark parks. We can't harp on that enough. These are Plain Township parks. Stark Parks has a trail system that, yeah, may cut through Plain Township. You know, to consider Plain Township parks being acquired by Stark Parks, not even a remotely feasible aspect based upon even their levy and their funding mechanism. So for the public, you know, if you have questions, call, email, whatever, but before going to, whether it's Nextdoor or social media, get the facts, because, I mean, some of it's just so off the wall. I think it's you know, folks not wanting to hear the reality of what it is, so.
And I think based on the first presentation of how we made our decision for the amount that we were going to go with the levy, we all agree that that is operational money. There's no extra money there for the purchase of land, because even if we could do eminent domain, you don't get it for free, you still have to pay for it. But that is not something that we're after. This levy is for continuation of operations existing what we have right now.
And the reality is you can't write your way through grants into, most of them are capital anyways. If somebody can show me a bunch of operating grants that
There's
are out there,
none.
I'd love to
No, there aren't
because
any.
they don't.
No.
They want to see something physical.
And I think, you know, we've got some good examples at all the parks where, whether it's Scouts, it's Rotary, it's public contributions to different efforts. So much of the parks are actually really privately funded through those different initiatives, but yet everybody still gets to enjoy them and recognize the benefit from them, so. All right.
Thank you. Item number 2 is just an update as we continue the process with the architectural work of the restrooms. Mr. Sabo asked me to add on to it. We did communicate with them directly in the last 8 to 10 days regarding materials and in particular color of brick that we'd like to see some samples on, as well as roof. I stated to Mr. Sabo that I would prefer to see a beige or a brown brick. There's a lot of dust, there's a lot of dirt that blows from that parking lot into the field across. I think it would, from a maintenance aspect, make more sense. And I also inquired about different colors of that roof. I know when we stand, Joe, you can attest to this, when we stand in that parking lot for tournaments or events, people from all over come over, whether they're local or not, and the first thing they ask is, where's the restroom? So I'd like to be able to distinguish the building from even across the facility and say, head to the, this is just an example, head to the blue roof, head to the yellow roof, whatever the case may be, so that they can clearly distinguish it no matter where they are on the facility, because it's literally one of the first 2 questions that we get outside of, can I park here?
Yeah.
Where's
Why
the
do I have to
restroom?
park where you tell me?
Yeah, so,
Something,
I find that to be incredibly important. I know that when we talk to my supervisors on duty or my weekend guys on duty, that's probably the foremost question is, where is the restroom? And being able to identify it from a long distance, I think, is an important piece.
as long as it's a mild color, I don't want to see nothing obnoxious over there. There's some obnoxious colors out there, so.
Pink it is, got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, initially we talked about blending it with the existing color of the other 2 buildings, and then when he brought that up, I thought, that's actually kind of genius, really, because,
Whether it's a burnt
Yeah.
red or something like that.
Yeah.
because it distinguishes it then, so everybody, even kids, can gravitate towards the color.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on that?
No, just a quick update. We'll keep all posted as we continue to get them as we move forward.
Okay.
Item number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to provide a uniform allowance of $500 to be paid from Fund ONV 05B per year for each full-time parks, buildings, and grounds employee effective April 1, with no carryover from year to year and no cash-out option. That uniforms and boots will be purchased from the township-approved vendors only. Allowance includes 1 pair of boots per calendar year. Continue to provide safety equipment quantities for individuals. Any such item or items should be based on the employee having an inventory of uniform clothing that is necessary for everyone to maintain neat and well-groomed image, as well as provide comfort and safety.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That concludes parks, thank you.
Okay, nothing on our communications, brings us to the portion of the meeting, public speaks. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board?
Not public speaks, but I'd like to address you under law director, if I may.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, my bad.
No worries. I just have one item, it's the Hall of Fame number 7 annexation, and that is in the footprint of the Hall of Fame. I know Scott, you'd asked about that. It is in that footprint, and it is 0.138 acres, so it's that little one right in the middle of about 5 others that have already been annexed. So, as per the other ones, these are ones that I think we have kind of a handshake agreement not to contest, as long as it's in that footprint.
Let's see here. We don't have a motion on this, this is just moved.
Yeah, this was just informational. Yeah, I would do a resolution if you wanted to challenge it, but I get the gist that you don't.
It's interesting that Fonda did this instead of Stan. That was
Very, yeah.
That was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, I did notice that as well.
It's an empty
Okay.
lot.
So anything else for the law director?
That's it?
Sorry, I skipped over.
No
you.
worries.
Nothing around communications, public speaks, anybody that wishes to address the board? Seeing no one, that'll conclude public speaks, concerns of trustees. Mr. Sabo.
Yeah, I'll take this one. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, I just wanted to update the status of this. And Joe, you help me out,
Yep.
JP, help me out, because I know little about this, I'm just kind of taking the lead and then I'm going to pass it off, okay? Because the guy called me about the underground pipe that runs from here north to that, so it's catch basin to catch basin. that accurate?
I think it's short of the catch basin. isn't it?
Yeah, it's short of the.
It's short of the catch.
Okay, so it's somewhere in there though.
Yeah, there's a
That-
swell in there.
And what's going on right somewhere like in here, is that fair to say that's about where it's
It's about 26 foot from that catch basin
Yeah,
there.
from the back catch.
going
basin.
north?
26 feet from the back basin.
Yeah, going north,
Right there at the corner
Heading
of the
north.
property.
okay? So we're talking maybe like about right here,
Yep.
Oh,
okay? So there's a sinkhole, and the sinkhole is coming about because the county installed
Steel
pipe, steel pipe,
Many years
it's
ago.
obviously rusted out. The water that's coming through there is no longer contained within the pipe. It's eroding, and it continues to make sinkholes in this guy's yard,
Yes.
okay? We have done minor repairs on it before, and one time it wasn't a minor repair, is that fair to say?
Correct.
We spent a lot of time on it. And so now the sinkhole is being created. I guess for the sake of understanding, are we liable if anything happens in terms of that sinkhole? Joe thinks he can fix the sinkhole. Is
Yes.
that fair to say?
Yes. But that doesn't mean it's not gonna happen again.
Exactly, but it's guaranteed it's gonna happen again.
But it's off.
Correct?
Right.
Correct.
I was told that it was a county easement, so I called the county. They did their background work on it, and they never said it was, because it just says drainage easement. But they told the resident that Soil and Water handles all their off-road drainage. So he had to go through there. So to me, they're admitting that it is a county easement. He's, the owner there said there's some kind of agreement that the county, it's a county easement, but Plain Township's supposed to take care of it. And I have nothing,
Okay,
told him, show us that.
right.
But actually,
somebody tell him
in all
that?
fairness, yes.
Who?
His neighbor that abuts, scroll, can you scroll that to the north? Because I want to see the property that comes off of Freight, the other way, go slow. Right there, you see the property that comes perpendicular to his, off of Fraser? That guy just sold his property about 2 years ago, and that's the guy that told this guy that lives on Schneider that that's what the county said when they put that in, okay? So he's saying, the owner at 1622 Schneider is saying that it was the neighbor that told him about this arrangement. I think realistically, we know there was never any
Yeah,
arrangement that said the county would put in the pipe and we would maintain it.
I think that's
So
hearsay,
did you
John.
put
Yeah.
in pipe there, Joe?
We replaced
You
the section.
replaced a section of pipe.
Were you even here when
Yes,
that was put in the ground and
Yes.
and covered up?
yes. Been here a while, John.
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? Let me talk to Joe privately, because I want to make sure that I can say things in an attorney-client privilege setting. And then we'll report back to you, John.
I would prefer that,
Yeah,
simply because I don't want to put Joe in the
yeah,
middle,
right,
okay?
right,
So I don't want to send him somewhere to do anything.
right.
And that's why I wanted to do this in this forum, because there's too many people that are talking to too many other people
Right.
who are, well, here's what this guy told me, and then this guy told me this, and then JP did go out and run the camera through
Yeah,
today.
I would like JP to tell you what he actually
Yeah,
seen with the camera.
What we repaired, what Joe said, is there's no leakage or no holes. Once you get past our repairs, the rest of that culvert, the bottom of it is just ate away. And, you know, like you and I talked, John and Joe, that if you repair that hole or that section, next year, it's gonna be the section.
We're gonna keep chasing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until it's all the way replaced, so, we've been out there a couple times, Joe, to fill those holes and do a little work. But, yeah, it's just gonna be an ongoing problem until it's completely fixed.
How, just along his property, is that the only
Yeah,
place it
it's
is?
from that basin,
It's in between those two properties.
Yeah.
It's in an easement.
Okay, All right, yeah, let me work with Joe and then we'll circle back with you.
Because I think it runs above ground in some of the property behind it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that
Isn't
drains,
there
that
like a concrete
Yeah.
trough that it
Back
follows
to that pond.
above
drains
ground?
that pond to the south on Jennifer.
Oh, yeah,
and
it's
then-
bizarre.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of drainage system, that's for sure. And it heads north, which is where.
So, yeah, that, I appreciate that.
Yes.
I just don't want Joe to be caught.
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Very good.
Is that the house that leaks in the basement all the time?
I don't think he's ever had, he's just having an erosion problem that sinkholes are being created.
Yeah, I've never heard anything.
But
about
that ditch
water.
used to be open.
I never heard anything about water.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anything else under concerns of trustees? Concerns of the fiscal officer?
No concerns.
Takes us to the approval of the special meeting minutes for March 1st, 2021. I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Then I'll move on the approval of the minutes for March 9th, 2021.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Okay, there is a need for executive session, so I'll make a motion be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 6:26 PM from this regular meeting as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of consideration of 1F compensation of a public employee or official for preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.